This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
All right, we are here. Life in the Dad Lane. I'm Ed Placencia. This is Lane Compton. Lane, I'm going to start off with exactly what I said to you before we started recording. You look really well rested compared to last week. You look great. You look fresh. You look, what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah, I did get the morning sleep shift today. So maybe that's part of it. You know, we kind of take turns, and actually the last couple of days previous to this morning, I had taken it just because I felt I wasn't so tired or whatever. I'll get up with him.
Yeah.
Because he's been a little fussy in the morning.
Yeah.
And just really clingy. Doesn't like to be alone, which makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, spent 9 months coddled and swaddled in embryonic fluid and, you know, being fed, not having to worry about any of that.
So weird.
Yeah. It is so weird. So I was actually pretty beat yesterday, and I feel I did wake up a little bit more rested today. He's doing a little bit longer shifts, so that does help too.
Good.
I feel like we're calibrating some idea of how we can help him sleep a little bit longer, but it's probably just naturally occurring for him as he's getting a lay of the land. He's feeling it out. He's feeling more comfortable that he, you know, gets fed and then can conk out. We have a couple 4-hour shifts, which is pretty good from what I hear.
I bet that feels good for you and, you know, and your wife to get 4 hours.
It does. It's a funny trick though. The mind, like the 4-hour shift is based on that app I told you that we use. Yeah. And the time starts when he starts feeding. Let's say he feeds for 15 minutes on each side, which is a long feed. You know, sometimes it's 10 and 5 or whatever, but let's say he does 15 on each. 30 minutes of feeding. So it started, he's already had his, 30 minutes is part of that 4 hours. And then once he's done, it's like 10, 15 or so of burping, trying to get him so that he doesn't feel so uncomfortable because of all the gas pain and whatnot. Yeah. I didn't realize it certainly at the beginning, but you set him down and he's so uncomfortable, he's so whiny. It's like, oh, it's because he's got a burp in there or a fart in there that he doesn't really know what to do with other than like, it's uncomfortable. Somebody help me. Right. So really helping him express those things makes a big difference. So you now you're in 45 minutes each, roughly into his 4-hour thing. And then a diaper change, which we've seen sometimes is quick and easy. Yeah. But other times it's, you change one diaper and then he's already messed another or he's... Right. So that can be a good 15-minute ordeal maybe as well. Yeah. And then he's been really awake after a change. And at first, it's like, oh, God, don't make eye contact with him. Just pretend like... it's quiet, like dim the lights more, just just change it. And so he'll know but that doesn't work. But what I learned really through my wife and her knowledge and research is that these stages as he's developing and the ability to kind of really see, now he can see 10 to maybe 15 inches in front of his face. And when he does recognize or feel excited about a connection or knows who it is or notices your voice and then sees your face and laughs, it is actually because of that. It's not like, oh yeah, he's laughing, but it's gas, or you know, he's just happy to be, you know, feeling a clean diaper. It has nothing to do with who he's seeing. Now it actually is that, and it's a monumental development for the brain, for the child, is this stage where they can actually recognize and then have that interaction between you and it.
Right.
And so it's actually been really beneficial to engage with it and not like, I'll pretend like you're
right.
But if I engage with it and have those moments, my wife also was sharing with me that he'll do it until he can't. And then I'll notice him kind of like really engaged, laughing, hearing your voice. And then he's just like, he looks off in a different direction.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's done. He's like done what his capacity allows. And so if I engage with it and really do it for the time he can and then lay off and then just kind of help rock him back to bed, he goes to bed super quick.
Interesting.
And so like that timeline though of like now we're in about an hour or so to get him back down after. So it's then maybe I can put him down after an hour of when he started feeding. And then if I can wind myself back down myself to, you know, bed and falling asleep, then, you know, maybe another 20, 30 minutes. But I'm an hour and a half into that 4-hour block.
Right.
So, you know, I'm getting 2.5 or so.
2.5's good.
So hey, when you think about it in the scale when he was doing like 2-hour sleeps, it's like I'm getting like 30 minutes in that window. So
take what you can get.
Way better. Yeah.
How's your wife's recovery?
Good. She had her first outing to go catch up with friends for a lunch today, which was a huge step. Yeah. And I think it was really great for her. At first she was like, I don't want to leave and I could just cancel. And I was like, no, you should go. And at first she was going to bring the kid and decided against it just because it would just mean so many more steps for her. And it should be, or could be, just a thing for her to get out and have her time. And so she did. She met up with a bunch of girlfriends from work as they were either on their break or leaving or going to the hospital. Yeah, so she stepped out, did that, and we're, you know, going to get out for a walk after this. So
has she been able to go out, just her, or was this like her first outing with friends?
It was the first that she did purely like recreationally for herself. It wasn't a doctor's appointment. It wasn't therapy or anything like that. It was just for her to get out, have a moment with friends. Yeah. So that it was a big step, I think.
How is it different from what you had in your head at this point? Did you not even have an idea of what it would be like at this point?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's what continually surprises me, shocks me, maybe even scares me is, I mean, I know there's no preparing for these types of things because you just don't really know. But so often I'll look over and just be like, especially now that he's interacting more and you can tell there's response from me and what I'm doing. Yeah. It's like, there's a life. I mean, I know there was a life before, but there's something different now where it's like this interaction, be like, this is a whole thing happening and what is happening in there. And yeah, I certainly had no idea what it would be like, but there is this thing happening to me where I'm realizing, this might sound stupid or weird, but it's like, yeah, this is forever.
Right.
And I knew that, but there's something about the development that he's had and also those diminishing things that we talked about, like some of the sounds he's not making anymore. And my wife is much more conscious of them and like they're much more precious. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, he's going to be here forever. Like this is like, he's going to be doing things forever. And but it made me kind of take pause and be like, well, yeah, but not like this. And so, yeah, I guess I'm being a little bit more reflective on the moment to moment and day to day. Yeah. Because I didn't have an idea. but it's definitely in the harder moments too, where I'm exhausted and he won't stop crying, and where it's like, this is forever.
Yeah. In the last few weeks, have you noticed, are you more easily succumbed to being, having your heartstrings tugged at either even like a commercial or, if you see a father son type thing, does it hit you completely different now?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's something about the knowledge of what this all takes, and I'm only 8 weeks in.
Yeah.
That when you see an interaction or like they're watching a show where there's a miscarriage, and it's just like, oh man, we actually have some friends that are kind of going through that at the moment too, and just, I knew they happened before, and I certainly had empathy for people, but I didn't know, and it's the same thing like when you see a great moment in a show or a commercial, even between parents and kids, where it's like, you understand why that moment is creating such joy or smiles in their face. It's like, holy crap, this is one of a kind. Like,
Right.
You can't really get it, but maybe you can. It's like what we were discussing, how moved I've been by your engagement with this, and my feeling like I got to call all the friends I've had throughout my life who've had kids and say, I'm so sorry I wasn't more present and engaged, and reaching out to say, how are you? And why I was so impressed and moved by your ability to do that without having gone through that experience of having kids. And to those out there, if you know people with new babies and you are thinking maybe I could or should reach out, or I don't know, I don't want to, just do it, because it means a lot to us.
Well, and I think it's like any big life event, whether it's a marriage, having a child, a death of a loved one, everyone reaches out immediately. And then a month, 2 months, 6 months down the road, you don't hear from anybody anymore. And it's very easy to, we've all got busy lives, and it's very easy to just go right back into our own routine. And so, you can't blame anyone for, you understand, but at the same time, when someone does reach out, that's kind of nice.
Oh man, yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. So you have saved me with this mirrored podcast.
My work is done.
Yeah, mic drop. Yeah, because there is so many wonderful things that you get to experience, but it's not easy. I mean, we just talked about the sleep, and something that's happened to me. We kind of joked about it, or I joked about it a little bit last week of, when it does get frustrating and your patients are being, and you're just like, just want to get rid, chuck this.
Right.
And I made a joke about it, but my patients were tested this week to where I almost got, well, not almost, I got scared for how my body tensed up, and like, because I couldn't get him to stop. Yeah. And it was like, oh man. And I felt so ashamed and scared by myself. And it's like, this is how that can escalate to the other thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty passive person. If there is conflict happening physically between people, I'm usually the one to be like, hey, it's okay. Right. You need to separate, chill. This is, you're going to hurt somebody, and that's not what either of you actually want. Yeah. And so the snap didn't happen. I was present. Yeah. But man, I could see where it could go, because I got so like, why can't, it's like that physicality is even tightening up in me now. Yeah. And I told my wife, I was like, I scared myself. Like, I don't know. I shouldn't, like, it was like, I don't know if I can touch him again, I was really scared by it. And I have shared it with a couple people who have had kids, and my wife too was like, well, that's okay. Like, it's going to happen. And The fact that you can recognize it's good, and if it happens, just put the kid down and walk away. It can scream and cry better than you. But it's like, oh man, I almost lost it on this thing that I like would drop at the drop of a hat, anything in my life to help it, to give it any sense of ease or comfort that I could. And I lost that. Yeah. That was off the radar for a couple seconds. Yeah. And it's kind of scary.
I mean, it's gotta be so common though. I remember when I was quite a bit younger and I was hanging out with some friends and they had a newborn baby, and they said, and we went to the video store. That's how long ago it was. And they said, can we run in? You sit in the van with the baby. I was like, yeah, that's fine. And the baby just started screaming and I couldn't get it to stop. You know, you start, it's okay. You know, and I started at that level and I felt exactly what you're talking about. And I just wanted to scream at this baby. I don't know what you want. And I was with the baby for 4 minutes, you know, so I can imagine being, you know, we're 8 weeks in. Gosh, I would have felt that, you know, a half hour after getting home. And so, I mean, it's gotta be, you know, definitely don't beat yourself up about it for feeling that, because a lot of us feel things, and what's huge is what we do with those feelings. Do we act on them? Do we not? And that can separate. Yeah, that's the difference between a good decision and a really bad decision, you know? And so you made the right decision. You didn't act on it. It's okay to have those feelings and that pressure and that stress. We're all going to have it about everything, you know, whether it's to your boss that you want to scream at or an old lady that did, you know, cut you off and you want to scream at her. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, but there's, you know, we're going to, and it won't be the last time it happens, I'm sure. Yeah. But, you know, I think, because you're so introspective and it's your son, I think because it happened, you know, you got to that point where you could, you know, feel the breaking point or whatever. I think you know, maybe the next time you'll be a little more aware that it's happening, but you know, maybe you won't find yourself as close to the edge as because you know, gosh, I don't want to go this far. Let's cut this off early. And, you know, and so speaking as someone that doesn't have any kids, don't beat yourself up, man, because, you know, it's gotta be a common thing. It really does.
Yeah. And I think it is. And if anything, there's that safeguard built into it that, you know, to whatever you believe, if we're just, you know, all stardust or God actually created you, you know, whatever the spectrum is, like there's something in the fact that you love it so much that you won't let it get to that thing. Right. Because otherwise, forget it. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, I don't have to put up with this. But in a more serious light, like I grew up with a family whose youngest, the babysitter, shook, and you know, she was never the same because of it. Mentally, you know, disabled for her life, and she's since passed. But yeah, I mean, I saw where that can go, and dude. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens.
And, you know, and I'm really glad you shared that, just because we don't know who's listening to this, and there might be another new dad that just stumbles upon this and has just gone through the same thing. And sometimes you don't always get the correct answer or what you need to hear, but sometimes just knowing someone else went through the same thing as you, that can make a huge difference as well. Totally. You know, and so thanks for being open about that, man, for real.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, it startled me a little bit, for sure. Recalibrating still, probably, from it. But for a good reason, I think. You know, it's like you said, there's got to be thousands of other people that have been in that place, and probably from this moment on will also enter that place. And you know, you're not alone in it. But yeah. Scary.
I wanted to ask you an actory question, since you are an actor. Steven Spielberg famously talks about how he couldn't make Close Encounters today because at the end of the film, the dad leaves the family to go up into the spaceship. Spoiler alert. And he said, obviously I was a single guy who made that because I couldn't make that same film today as a father and a husband.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Is there anything, at least right now, and things might change in the future, that is there anything that someone could come to you and say, Lane, could you play this part that right now you would have to say, not in the right space to play that particular role? Is there anything, or are you able to, you're an actor and be able to say, yeah, I can portray this bad guy or whatever, or a man in this situation? Is there anything right now that you'd kind of be hesitant to portray, or not because you think it's a bad, people shouldn't, but because just the headspace would mess you up too much?
Well, made me think of my mind races all the time. So I went like 5 different places at once.
I want to go to all of them.
Cool. First was how funny it was in like the 2 years leading up, the amount of deadbeat dads that I played. Yeah. Yeah. Like that was my role for like, I did like 3 or 4 films where I was the deadbeat, alcoholic, bad husband who had been, my partner divorced me, got custody of the kids, and I'm like, one of them was called Dad's Weekend, and so I have my weekend goes terribly wrong because I fuck it up. The other was, me coming back to try and have a serious conversation. A Serious Talk was the name of the film, and I play the dad who can't get it together, struggling, living on the couch of his brother, and trying to get good graces back with his ex. And it's around the holidays, and he learns that she's got a new partner and that's never going to happen. And he's not going to get to have that talk where he, wants to find a way to bear all but can't. So I thought that was kind of funny. It's like multiple parts. I'm like deadbeat dad. And like, if anything, if it ever came up and I was, seeing the breakdowns or auditioning for it, say, I'll probably get this because it's a deadbeat dad. And for some reason that's my pigeonhole at the moment.
That's my vibe right now, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But now, certainly, when I think of like being able to share what I do with my son, there's probably projects where it's like, okay, I would really like to work. But my wife and I were even talking about this the other day. Like even some commercials, it's like, do I really want to endorse, said, billionaire, whatever, who doesn't really, it's like, or do you have the attitude of like, yeah, I should get some money off this guy too, or Apple or Amazon, or who knows, whatever might come across the desk. It's like, well, I don't really have that luxury. And my wife kind of reminded me of that. I'm not at that place in my career. I basically get to say yes to anything that comes in, more or less. Yeah. But as an artist, looking at it, I think even if it's like the really bad, awful guy, the bad guy, I think it's important to take a look at that, because otherwise you just get a bunch of people who are playing the idea of bad guy as opposed to just somebody who's also maybe trying a little too hard to be loved and going to force everyone to love him. I don't know. But I think it's important to look at that. And as far as being a dad now, it's important that I'd be able to share that I think every person is a human, no matter how awful, the worst serial killers or whatever. And they all started somewhere. They're all someone's kid. And have mom and dad, and maybe they just weren't the best. Weren't as present or weren't present at all or whatnot. Yeah. I think it's important to take a look at all parts, but that may change. Yeah. I guess it's different as the director to say he wouldn't be able to do that. But I think if he was playing the part, I think that would only make that moment that much more rich. Or maybe as the director, if he were to redo it, he could, to that moment could be so much more rich because
Right.
he did make that choice.
Yeah.
And how difficult. I mean, when you look at, the film Interstellar, of like that separation between the family, like it's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy. And maybe there would be regret once done, but decisions are decisions. And like we were just talking about, tough ones when you have feelings and how you act on them are two different things. You can have the feelings, but I guess until it crosses the desk, there aren't any that top of mind that I would say no to at the moment.
Yeah.
But as we also discussed, I don't have that luxury. And so
Right.
if anyone's got a part out there, I'll take it. I'm available. my contacts are in the links.
Yeah, we talked a little bit last week about you were looking at when do you go back. You had the construction job. Did you go out this week? Was that this week?
I did one day last week.
Okay.
And I could potentially be back and doing it again tomorrow and Thursday.
How was it going out?
It was really great in the sense of getting out of the house.
Sure.
Being given a task that had no other importance other than my focus on that one thing at this one moment, and that's it.
Yeah.
That felt really nice and liberating. But being away for the whole day took a toll. It was hard. And it's not a great paying job.
Yeah.
So to make it about the money, it's like, well, my wife and I talked about it after, because I was like, it felt like shit at the end of it to like walk away with like $150 for, I only did 6 hours that day because I kind of wrapped a project I was doing and I couldn't really start another one on this house that we were working on.
Yeah.
But at this point, to have a little extra to create some, extra spending money in some ways to help, great. But when we go back and it's like my wife is also working and I'm going to do that or be the childcare for the day, because it would have cost more to have childcare for that long than what I made. Yeah. It's like, oh, no brainer. No, I'm not going to be away. I will stick with the kid. But yeah, I'm feeling obligated because the guy who hires me is a friend and I've said I could be available. And I have a really hard time saying no to people that I've made a commitment to. I have a little bit of codependency issue. And so because I've said yes, I feel like, oh, I can. I know him. He would be like, if you don't want to work, just tell me you don't want to work. I don't,
Yeah.
It's just going to take longer on this project and I don't have to pay you out. It's fine.
Right.
But yeah, so I have a little of that battle. And then the bar this week is in a pickle on Friday night. Very close friend is the GM, and he reached out being like, hey, if this guy can't get coverage at his other spot, I don't have anyone else. Would you be available? And he reached out to me and another friend. And the one guy said he'd do it if I didn't want it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want, Lane? What would be best for you?
Yeah.
And it's my wife asked me that, and my answer was always like, me? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I can't, which is not a great place to be in, especially as you start taking care of another human being, because as the example, being in an airplane, it starts going down, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you do anyone else. So I'm learning that. I'm very much in the throes of like, I don't know what to do. I'm not making any money but what's coming in through the state, and shouldn't I help? Shouldn't I be that extra, it's not much bread. It's a wafer.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm in struggles with that. However, both my wife and I talked about it today. It's like, if this were a film or a TV show or a commercial or a play, video game, there would be no doubt. It would just be like, okay, I'm on, even if it was the next month. It would be hard, and I would still feel guilty towards my wife, and she would still feel like well, shit, you're kind of leaving me here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But both of us said, like, well, that's what we signed up for. So we would find a way to make it work. So it feels worse, I think, on both sides for me to be stepping out for something that pays so little.
Right.
And is it always about the money? No, I feel really good doing that kind of work. I really love to, do construction, work with my hands. And this job is presenting a lot of new things I haven't ever done. And I'm learning. And the guy who's my friend, he's really good about teaching me and showing me new skill and then putting me to task on those jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm learning, but I don't know what I'm going to do about tomorrow, to be honest, right now.
Yeah.
He'll find out.
Right. I think when we talk about our parents and how we were raised, it's very easy to look back and say, oh yeah, that was, they shouldn't have done that. Or I remember that and that was a mistake. But is there something that you remember your parents doing that you were like, I gotta replicate that. I gotta do that. That was incredible. I love that.
Well, we all almost every night sat down for dinner together. I mean, I would love to continue. I think it was a really great thing.
Yeah.
There's ways in which I would love to improve upon it so that communication and honesty and whatever were a little bit more present so that, I felt as a kid I could have shared more and whatnot. And hopefully I can encourage that with my own. And there was always a lot of focus on a family trip per year. So much so that I remember there being a very large fishbowl in the kitchen. Yeah. And everyone could contribute change or $1 or $2, or if like you did chores and you wanted, and it just made you aware of like this costs something to do. It isn't just like, good. Oh yeah, every year we go on a trip and so we go. Hey, great. Yeah. And I remember seeing that and being like, yeah, oh, I found a quarter. It's a quarter. Yeah. But to a kid, like, right. I would have like put that in my piggy bank, but I'm gonna, Right. So there was something about that I thought was, it has obviously stuck with me. And there are certainly a couple of like life lessons that I remember my parents saying to me that have stuck with me that I guess, I don't know if I could help pass that on. They're things that I felt were of value. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really at a stage in my life where I'm unpacking some of the more difficult side of things with therapy and whatnot. So I appreciate that question because it is good to focus on the positive as well as the things that maybe, I think I joked with myself, like I was carrying my kid down the stairs and he was upset and I was like, yeah, well, you'll be able to unpack this all in 40 years in therapy, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll do it to you. That's not my intention, but I think nobody's perfect and
yeah. And you realize as you get older, when you were a kid, like, I'm way older now than my parents were. The first time I thought, well, they every time I asked them a question, they seem to have an answer. And as I get older, I'm like, I don't know anything. And I can't imagine having a kid and knowing nothing. I remember as a kid, in junior high, Dad helping me with geometry. And at that moment, I was able to recognize I am not going to be able to do this. When I'm his age and I have a kid, I'm not going to remember this. How does he remember this? And growing up, I don't know anything about life. I don't know what's going on. And you kind of learn to realize these guys were scraping by. They were doing as best as they could, but at the same time, they were just a couple of people trying to figure out what to do as well. They didn't have a magic book full of answers. Yeah. I tend to empathize a lot more with, wow, I did not realize how rough it was. I did not realize how much money we didn't have growing up because I was just a kid playing around and I was happy. So kudos to them because I could focus on this, but wow, they pulled off this trick that I had no idea was a trick at all.
Totally. Yeah. I love that you brought that up. It's a really good point because I had major fear when I knew my wife was pregnant and we're going through that whole 9 months of, preparation. And it's like, I got to look that up. I should know that. I got to, like, if something came up, I was like, well, what if they asked me this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to know that in case they, and then I started like dialing it back for my son, be like, well, wouldn't that be a great opportunity to be like, I don't know. Let's go to a resource to look it up.
Yeah.
Let's do it together. But I had like panic of like, oh man, what if they ask me like geometry? What if that comes up? I don't remember any of those things. Like, how can I help? I'll I have that a little bit of inferiority complex. I mean, my wife is so whip smart that I'm like, she's gonna know everything. We're both gonna like, he's gonna ask a question and I'll turn with him to her. But what do you think? But I mean, it's funny you said that too, of like that realization of like, they're just two people trying to figure out, and kudos to them for pulling out the trick of like making you feel like you had everything when maybe you didn't. And my parents were here 20 days into my son being born. My dad and he was just with me as I was doing a change or something. I was like massaging my son's stomach with his knees, trying to help him like work gas out. And my dad's like, where'd you learn that? I'm like, what are you doing? And I explained. He's like, oh, how did you know that? I was like, well, my feed is all kid stuff now. My algorithm is all, and so I'm getting all these things. And I was like, on the internet. He's like, wow. Yeah, I didn't know anything. Yeah. And it was like, oh man. One, in some ways it made me feel really good that that resource can be useful and like we talked about the sounds the baby makes and like having these apps and all these, it's really great. And also like, oh man, Dad, like that must have been really hard.
Yeah, because when we were growing up, if Dad doesn't know the answer and, oh, hey, let's together go look it up. Well, we got to wait until Saturday when I'm off work and not doing stuff, and we can drive up to the library if we remember by then. So at least now you can, let's go look it up right now. You've got that a little bit of an informational advantage, I guess. Yeah.
And my dark humor brain went, well, now you can't get away with just making up something. And they're like, really? You're like, yep. Right. Go clean your room.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I wonder how many things get passed on that are like, now you can't get away with that. They're like, actually, Dad, no. Okay. That's not how it works.
I would be remiss if I asked if you had any new entries this week into what's affectionately become known as the Diaper Diaries.
Diaper Diaries. Oh yes, I do.
I love this.
I have a good journey here.
Oh
yes. One thing my wife and I have started is taking note of how long an outfit can last.
As far as like growing out of it?
No. Well, one, yes. No, getting dirty.
Diaper Diaries.
Yes. Let's not forget what section of the podcast we're in, Ed. We are in the Diaper Diaries, and we know what a messy situation that can be. So we've been kind of like making, not wagers, but like taking note of like how many days. Because we have one outfit that he's never worn all the way through the day. And we're always like, should we put this one on? It's like, I'm not touching that. You put it on. You're the one that changes it when it happens. And so that's a little bit of lead into this one, because on Friday at 12:20 a.m., it was a mushy yellow mixed diaper. And the entry starts with, I don't want to jinx it, but this sleep onesie has lasted 3 days in a row. No blowouts, no leaks, no mid-change waterworks taking this sucker out. Could this mean Mom and Dad are getting the hang of things? Or have I just guaranteed that I'll have to do a full change sometime throughout this night? Stay tuned. Come to 3:44 a.m.
Ooh, okay.
Again, mixed bag, mushy, runny, yellow. But the onesie stands. I'm not a betting man, and I'm not even sure what the over-under would be or how that even works. But if you knew what this onesie was just up against, I don't think you or anyone would have bet on it. It started with a very full diaper that could have very easily leaked out some pee or poo and left even a few minutes longer. Probably it would have done that. But the change started out fairly routine. It wasn't until he was all cleaned up, the new diaper under him, ready to go, I started applying the diaper cream when a small but pointed fart came out. It startled me. I took pause, and just when I was about to continue applying the cream, projectile diarrhea, multiple squirts with force. Had the diaper not been there, I don't know how far it could have gone. I mean, it was scary, shooting out. But it was there. The diaper was there. So, no problem. Back to square one. Change the dirty diaper. I pull it off. And after a much needed wipe down, when my hand feels a little warm. Yep, you're in luck. Because if you guessed pee, you were right. All over the Chuck's pad. So the pad that's under him to protect the also pad that's waterproof. Anyway, we have a lot of safety nets here, and we went through them all. So even the Chuck's pad is gone, but not the onesie. It lives to fight another day. And if you don't have any skin in the game yet, it's time to start placing bets, folks. The odds are getting higher. So until the next one, will it last the night? We shall see. 6 a.m. I didn't do the change, but the entry, because my wife and I can both write in the app chat. It's a mix, runny yellow. The entry is just very simple. Mom ruined the streak with a rogue pee. Good night. So the onesie made 3 days, almost into its fourth, and at 6 a.m. it got knocked out. So there's the what an adventure, what a ride, huh?
Right? I was rooting for this onesie.
Yeah, my wife and I are starting to play little games like that because it is funny.
Like
There's been that one that has never lasted a day, and so we don't ever want to put it on him. And this one looked promising. 3 days is a pretty long run, though, I gotta say.
That's a good run. How many sizes of clothes has he gone through at this stage?
There's been a couple things he started in that he can't wear any longer. There's some things he's really pushing. Thankfully, a lot of them are very pliable, stretchy.
Yeah.
But, it's funny. It's like sizing is also kind of all over the place depending on the company. So 0 to 3 months or newborn. It's like, well, what, is it a newborn or is it 3 months? Like, that seems like 3 months is pretty far down the road. Like, how could someone... But yeah, the outfit that he came home from the hospital in, we tried putting him in, a couple weeks ago. He couldn't wear that already. And there's a few things that's like, oh, it feels fine, but then like his legs have to stay up like this because he can't extend. It's like, okay, that's not fair. Right. But yeah, we had to go through and reorganize the drawers of all of his clothes that are under the changing table because it's like, yeah, we're already into this stage or age now and size, so we gotta kind of figure out how that's gonna work because things are changing fast, very fast. We had an appointment Friday, so we got vaccinated.
Nice.
Yes, huge step. We did it a little bit early. It's a 2-month thing usually, and we did it at 6 weeks. Okay. Because that's as early as you can do it. But we just wanted to get it out of the way. And it's a big deal for us. It's kind of all over the map, but with my wife working in healthcare and seeing all the things that are starting to come back that were eradicated, it's kind of scary. Right. Yeah. And that fear of like what the administration might choose to do. Maybe vaccines won't be as readily available, which is a scary thought. But so we wanted to get it out of the way as quickly as we could.
Good for you. Good.
Did that. But in that doctor's appointment as well, found out that he's still like 75 percentile in height. Nice. He's like 50% head, so he's not getting too big of a head yet.
Right.
So sometimes it looks like that. Your head is way too big for your body. You look like an old man.
Right.
His weight is on a great trajectory, so all things are going well. Yeah.
Good. Anything coming up in the next week that you are looking forward to experiencing? Are there any outings coming up?
Yeah. Well, with the vaccinations in, we're going to start opening the bubble up a little bit, and we're going to have a dinner with a couple that we're very close with on Saturday evening, which we haven't seen anyone outside of our parents being here, but even when they were coming through and helping out, they were masked up and protecting the child. So to be thinking that friends could be here and we can start opening the bubble up, and as I said, my wife went and had lunch with her friends, and we're gonna see some other friends on Wednesday as well, like outdoor pizza pop-up and a little like restaurant beer garden thing.
Nice.
So yeah, starting to venture out into the real world.
I look forward to checking in on you and seeing how that goes.
Yes, I look forward to reporting back. Hopefully all good things. We'll see.
It will. I can feel it already.
Great. Well, we'll touch back in. I like it.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, pal.